So I see you just wrapped the third season of your show on the History Channel. Is that going to come back for another go-around? Do you know yet?
No, probably not, because I'm sick of doing it. It's going to kill me, that show.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. My hips are... I hurt my hips, I hurt my knee, I hurt my foot. Yeah, must have never home. I just turned 50, so that thing kept me out on the road a long time. You know, last year I was only home 26 days between August 4th and December 23rd. And so we did 3 seasons. We had good ratings, so I'm always good for 3 and out. I like doing 3, leaving on a good note. I always hate doing stuff and you do it too long, then people go, well, that show was good, but yeah, it just didn't. Later on, it got that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to jump the shark, right? Yeah.
You notice I didn't want to become Fonzie, become the guidance counselor after the 18th episode, Went from goon to guidance counselor. But, so I think I'm going to stop it. I mean, Blue Collar TV, we did a couple. Blue Collar DVDs, we did 3. Movies, I did 3. You know what I mean? So I do everything in kind of 3s.
So now, did you find was there any kind of a link back to your stand-up, by going out, on the road like this in a different context? Did you get new material, or did it work into your act at all? Or?
Yeah, I got a few things I could put in my act. I think the coolest thing about it was I just got to do and see things that a lot of people don't get to do and see. I mean, I'll have plenty of stories I can tell my grandkids. I mean, I think I just got to do amazing things. I got to experience a lot of cool things. I got to meet a lot of great people. Some of it I could put in my act, and some of it I couldn't. So I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I didn't leave History Channel on sour notes or anything like that. They knew I was getting sick of it. And all good. Everybody's friends, everybody's buddies. The show itself was a blast. The guys I was out on the road with were my family. We keep in touch all the time. They're shoot. It was everything about that thing was good, other than the fact that I've physically disabled myself.
That's a small detail there, right?
Yeah.
And it's just real. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're right. This is a small detail.
Before we move on to other things, so what was like the coolest thing you did on this, over the 3 seasons? Was there one thing that really stands out?
A lot of cool ones. The one that stands out, of course, above all the others, is launching jets from the USS Nimitz. That was probably the coolest thing ever. I got to fly on, and they catch you, with the hook, and you go from 130 miles an hour to a dead stop in 2 seconds, and then you got to get off, and there's planes landing to the left, right of you, planes taking off to the left of you. I got to go out on the runway and stand in front of a fighter jet, about 20 feet in front of a fighter jet, give hand signal side, and watch that thing take off, and the wing is literally 8 feet from your head as it's going by you. I mean, it was pretty cool. So that was the coolest thing I did.
Yeah, that sounds like a really cool experience. Worth, sacrificing your body for a little bit, I guess, in the short term anyway. So.
Well, that's the thing that I say. I go, if anything were to happen, you end up dead, and then what a nice guy he was. Oh boy, we sure enjoyed working with him. And then 3 days later, they're on to a new show, and everybody forgets. There ain't nothing on TV worth crippling yourself or worth killing yourself over. Seriously, not for me anyway. For somebody else maybe, but. I got a whole other career going on other than television. Television's just something fun to do,
Right.
It's not how I make a living.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Speaking of which, back to stand up. So coming back to Atlantic City, and so I'm just curious, how you've been doing this blue collar thing, comedy. The tour was about 10 years ago. You're known for it. So has it changed a lot over the last 10 years? Does what people laugh at change, or how is your sort of act evolved, I guess?
No, you know what? My act evolves because I get older and I get smarter and I got kids, and there's you learn as you go about things. If you're a comedian and you have any kind of stability and and you do it for a long time. I mean, if you start out with single in 25 years, if you go from single to married with 2 kids, your act obviously changes, which mine does. But as far as my style, it doesn't change. My style will always be the same because that's the kind of comedy that I like. I'm a one-liner type comedian, and I like to do one-liners. And so that, as far as that part of my act, that'll never change, you know. I just wrote a joke today about people, there's some people bitching the Washington Redskins. The name Redskins is offensive, and they need to change their name. And I got to tell you, they need to change it from keep Redskins and change Washington. That's what's offensive lately.
Right. Yep, that's a good one. Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. So will you talk? Will you get talk about the politics at all, or is it more just references like that you would make in your act? So.
Well, I don't do politics just to do politics and act like I'm smarter than everybody else. I do it if I got a joke. Sorry, if I got a joke, then I'll do it. Like, that's a funny joke, so I would do that. Political, I do a joke about it, which I find funny about. I remember when the government was saying, too big to fail, this bank is too big to fail. And it's like, you know, what does that even mean, too big to fail? Evidently, the government's never seen a fat couple play Twister.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, it's just quick jokes. If I can do something on it, I will. I don't say it just to say it and then move on to something else. I do want to make some points, but I want to do them funny, and my whole act is not about politics. It's just about coming out laughing and having a good time. There is a point when I do get into politics, but like I said, if I can't get to a setup and a punchline in 30 seconds, I'm doing it.
And so, having the style of, all the one-liners, like you say, is that a lot of pressure to you constantly? Would you write like jokes every day pretty much, or, are you feeling like you have to come up with new stuff all the time? Or?
Well, I always keep my phone with me. I got that memo pad on my phone, so I pull that thing out about 8 or 9 times a day, because during the course of the day, whether you're hanging out with buddies or whatever you do, you think of something funny, so I always write it down. Will they all work? I don't know if they'll all work, but, I do my best. I thought of one a while back. And I've only done it twice on stage. Once it got a laugh, once it didn't. It might be more of a talk show type joke. I don't know. I like the joke, so it was due to the success of that movie, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Lionsgate just gave me the lead role in their new movie, Grover Cleveland versus Mothra. And I find that to be hilarious. So, that's how it is with a one-liner comedian. That's why, I always it sounded funny when people, well, that's easy comedy, he's a hack, that's easy stuff. Well, you know what, then, if one-liners are so easy, then why doesn't every comic do it if it's that freaking easy? It's not easy. I mean, Foxworthy, he's a storyteller. Ron's a storyteller. Bill's a storyteller. I mean, if Ron comes up with 3 new stories, I mean, shoot, that could be 8 minutes of story. That could be 5 minutes of story. You come up with 2 new stories, you got 10 new minutes like that. I come up with 10 new one-liners, that's about a minute and a half.
Right, yeah.
And it takes a long time. Like right now, I'm staring at, let me pull up a bunch of stuff here. Right now, I'm staring at a whole page of one-liners, probably about 70 one-liners. Out of those 70 that I've collected throughout the year, just jotted down, out of those 70, probably 40 of them are actually worth to keep working on. That might have a shot to run. They're all ideas.
Right.
40 will probably be worked on. Out about those 40, probably do 30 of them on stage. Out of those 30 I do on stage, half of them will probably be good. And out of those half, you'll have to really work on those. So I'm looking at 70. Out of these 70, I bet there's probably 14 of them that I can put in my act that's going to kill. So that's probably 2.5, 3 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
It's not that easy.
Right. I guess the difference is that since you have so much material and you're kind of firing them at the audience, that if some of them aren't as funny as others, or you can build it. Whereas I guess if you're telling a 5-minute story and it falls completely flat, that's a big chunk of your act that just didn't work. So you can kind of keep moving on and kind of moving with it, I guess. So.
Well, yeah, if you're going up and telling a story, like sometimes at the end of my shows, I tell a story about Willie Nelson when I worked with Willie Nelson in Fort Worth. It's hilarious, and I get laughs in it. Right. And it's probably a 3.5-minute story. But in that 3.5-minute story, I didn't like it that I wasn't getting laughs, because I like getting laughs quick. I'm used to it. So I added things to the story so I could get laughs about every 25 seconds. That's just my writing style. It's just the way I've always been. I like one-liners, like rolling the other day about going shopping with my wife. We went to I always get recognized. We was at the grocery store, sure enough. Hey, there's that guy that was playing with himself in the produce department,
Yeah.
Gets a big laugh. It has nothing to do with my comedy. It's something else. I was always recognized from comedy. I was right.
Right,
so it's just
right.
That twist of the joke. I've always been good at twisting, and so anyway, that's pretty much how I do it. I enjoy doing that. So when I go on stage, if I haven't been on stage in 2 weeks, I really like performing, because in those 2 weeks I've got about 4 or 5 jokes I want to try out, and I can't wait to see if they get a laugh. And if they do, boom, then I throw out 5 older one-liners and keep the 5 new ones.
And you mentioned Jeff and Bill. Of course, you're fellow blue collar tour veterans, and you've done other stuff throughout the year. So, and I think you just had that new series. It was animated series, right? That's the summer Bounty Hunters.
Yeah, we had that cartoon, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So, were you in the room together when you did that, or did you have to just sort of do it separately?
No, that was all different. We didn't even. They asked us if we want to do the cartoon. We reviewed the first thing that they had. We thought it was pretty funny. We didn't write it.
Right.
All we did was lend our voice to it. I think if we would have wrote it, it would have been a lot funnier. But basically, they come to you and they say they're going to pay you a bucket of money, and all you got to do is go sit in the studio for 20 minutes a day. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Who's going to say no to that? But it was a really funny cartoon. I don't even know if it's still on the air. I didn't get to see it a lot. I liked it, but they put it on. I think they debuted that thing on a Saturday night at 10:30. So the network really was a bunch of idiots. If they would have played their cards right, they would have had a hit, but they would have played it at a different time.
But you and Jeff and Bill, you guys keep in touch. You're still you have a lot of connection to each other, right? It's a pretty strong friendship.
Yeah, we're all buddies.
Mm-hmm. And any plans to tour again next year or anything, or together?
No, I don't. Me, myself, or all of us?
All of you together, yeah.
No, we're not going to perform together again. You know what? We don't want to. We always, we were known as the Redneck Rat Pack, which I thought was kind of cool. And, later on in life, the Rat Pack only got together maybe once every now and then. That was something surprise deal, But we all have our own individual careers now, and it's hard to get together. But I think one of the main reasons, we don't do it is we already did that, and it was a success, and people liked it, and it was great memories. You don't want to. You can't do better than that. You don't want to get together again and do it just for the money, and you want to do it because it's fun and people, it's the right time, and if you do it again, it, you don't want to ruin a good thing. Basically, you went out on top. You went out with people going, man, that was freaking awesome. I wish, you want to end big. You don't want to do it again, and then people see it and go, they were funny, but man, back in the day, those guys, we didn't want to have a back in the day. Once you do something that is that successful, you need to leave it alone and enjoy the memory of it and just kick back and smile and go, man, that was awesome. I was a part of that whole thing. So, no, I don't think we'll get back together. If we ever get back together, it'll be a one-time deal, and it'll be completely some kind of an anniversary deal or something, or we'll show up in Vegas at somebody's. But as far as a tour with all of us again, no, that we won't do that again. We did that, it was fun, and now it's time to move on